What's going on, folks? Welcome to the fifth quarter show. We're here again, another edition. Steady moving along. What's going on, guys?
Good, man. It's a great day outside for a change here in the Midwest, and we got a ton of stuff going on. It kind of looked a little bleak at first, but sports kind of delivers us some random stories to run with every week. So I think we got a good a great show for everybody tonight.
Yeah, man, I think we have a lot of things going on. We're going to touch on the NCAA hoops. We got some NBA talk, NFL, boxing, some Major League Baseball, and some entertainment. I know last week we got into some entertainment topics, and it was really, a very thought-provoking subject because we had some very interesting calls, some great calls, some calls that spark up some conversation. So we really appreciate those calls, and we hopefully will get those same type of calls today.
Yeah, man. Speaking locally, man, I know some. Well, we won't even go there. I tried to watch your Lady Flyers last night, man. I don't know if you checked them out. Hopefully, you don't discriminate.
Not at all.
So I was rooting for them, man. And before we even get in anything, man, what did you think went wrong there?
It's just talent, man. I think they played good tough ball in the first half. Played hard and kept it pretty close. But it just ultimately, with college sports, man, it boils down to recruiting. And, they just had a little bit better talent than the Flyers. Big shout out to, one of the players on the Flyers, Hoover. I think she's a senior.
Okay.
She had a great career. So want to give her some props for, staying at UD and doing big things for the university.
And I did want to get in some talk on the females because I was questioned about are we going to cover any females, mainly Serena. And, we'll get into that in time. I just want to say, man, I thought it was a great first half. And I thought Jabir said everything possible that, right, that he could to get his team to stay on task. And I just think the team came out. Every ball bounced UConn's way. And then on top of that, they seemed to get away from their offense and what they were running, and just the bigs kept, they had a lot of unforced errors. Long story short, they had a lot of unforced errors. Took them 3 or 4 minutes before they even scored coming out the gate. So you just can't play error-laden basketball against the Lady Huskies and expect to win. And once they started running their offense, and Rasita Lewis, the three-point shooter for the Lady Huskies.
Yeah.
Once she started bombing, Brianna Stewart was going off, and they just got caught up in a storm. And it was like I said, Jabir said everything correctly, man. But like you said, that's just good talent versus lesser talent.
Yeah, you're right, man. And the thing about, let me ask you a question. I know we have a topic list, but since we're talking about women's sports, I watch some women's basketball, and I pose this question to you, Wood. Do you think that the females shoot better than the males?
I've been saying for years, especially free throw shooting, women shoot with fundamentals. And I think the men, year after year after year, especially with LeBron, you got a lot of guys who just shoot with their legs. They're fading away, and they're trying to kick the feet out and get the foul on the three-pointer. I just feel like women don't muscle it. They just go through with the form and have better shooting, to answer your question.
Yeah, you're right, man. It just seems like you just hit the nail on the head because, to me, the female basketball players, they shoot so fundamentally sound. It's like every shot looks like it has a chance of going in.
Right.
Versus, some of our, the male counterparts, we get a little wild and we try to let our athleticism take over and not use fundamentals as we should, like the ladies do. Anything else on that, sir?
Nah, man. I just, I thought it was, the team, the guys fell a little short, but again, it was a matter of them that just depth just finally caught up with them. So I don't want to stick on it. I just thought we hit on something local. Like I said, I know we're up against the clock tonight. We're hoping to get in some great calls. You already mentioned the subjects we're running down, so let's get into it.
All right, March Madness, man. Fifth quarter March Madness pool is still going on. It's going strong. Getting a lot of phone calls and texts about people, doing good things with the bracket and wanting to win the bracket and that stuff. So right now, who's in the lead of our bracket? Is it Mr. Cartwright?
Mr. Cartwright. We're trying to get him in today. He works during this time. But yeah, he got a 1 point lead right now, and he can actually still win it, although he did pick Arizona, who's been gone. So a lot of stuff will have to go wrong for him to hold on to first.
Gotcha. And number 2, I believe, is Mr. Brant Wilson.
Mr. Brant Wilson with the bracketology, with his own brand, no pun intended, of bracketology.
Yeah, no doubt. And
trying to get him on for some comments. We want to know him so we can be prepared for next year.
Exactly. He want to keep all the secrets and don't let us know what's in that special sauce.
Right.
Who's number 3? Does anybody know? Is it Fred Ware or?
I thought he was up there.
Okay, I'm just trying to give love to top 3, but at any rate,
a couple people have. It is a guy I think in the top 7 or something that is the only one that has Wisconsin.
Right.
So I don't know what the points are rewarded for that these final 2 rounds. Whether or not if Brant wins one game, he might seal it up. So it's a little excitement. I wish I was up there in the mix, but unfortunately, my ship has sailed.
Yeah, the thing about it is, man, it's like I'm upset about the bracket. And the reason why I'm upset is because I don't see, my name up at the top. I don't see Wood's name up at the top. I don't see Chuck's name up at the top. And I don't see anybody in our household up in the top, because what would happen is if all of us win, I don't have to buy any, or we don't have to buy any gifts.
Right. We could have just moved that budget to next year. That part of the budget.
Exactly. Nah, we're just joking.
The non-existent budget.
Nah, we all agreed that anybody in our household, they cannot win. So, it is what it is. All right, moving right along. March Madness, man. We down to the Final Four. It's Duke, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and how could I forget Kentucky?
Well, yeah, right.
How could I forget them, man? That's crazy. So Michigan State, man. I mean, what are they? They were like a 7 or 8 seed, or what were they?
7 seed.
7 seed, man. And Izzo was doing his thing again, man. Working his magic, man. Getting his team to the Final Four. I know a streak was broken last year with them not that group of seniors not making it to the Final Four. But Mr. Trice, local talent, and Brandon Dawson, both seniors, they are definitely keeping that streak, or starting that streak over again, with Izzo senior teams being the Final Four. How you feel about those Michigan State Sparties?
Man, I told you from the beginning I had an issue with them because they had never won 3 or 4 games consecutively during the season. And every time I try to get on the bandwagon, they get a home loss to Northwestern or Minnesota or Illinois. So I was down on them, but this is one instance where, I had to go with what a team showed me, and I probably could have read into it a little more and just believed that Izzo would get it going. But they're there now, and they're going to be a tough out for Duke. I'm really hesitant to even. I put Duke to make it to the final, so I'm gonna stick with that. But I think Michigan State can really force Duke into playing how they want to play.
Yeah,
or how Michigan State wants Duke to play.
Yeah. I tell you this, man. In the game, if Michigan State, if they are close, when it comes to like the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, they have a shot to definitely win it. I think the best thing that Duke can do is possibly get a big lead and try to blow Michigan State out. But if it's close, I think they have a chance. I mean, the thing that Coach Izzo is doing with this team, I really don't see any stars on the team.
Right.
But it seems like every time he has a timeout or it's some stoppage of play, he is coaching his players. I've never seen a coach so in tune and so, into the game where every stoppage of play they're coaching. Usually that's for, your assistant coaches to, coach and give some adjustments on the sideline. And, your head coaches do a lot of game management and things of that nature. But this guy is so in tune to getting his players better during the game, and also just putting them in the right positions to be successful. Coach Izzo is just doing a great job, a fantastic job with this group, because I'm be honest with you, I think it's one of their, least talented teams that make the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. It's not X's and O's either. I mean, he's coaching the individual to make the sum, successful. I just want lame joke. I give it to you. I'll put that warning out there. But this Lou Rawls dude, man, I'm glad his parents weren't fan, or his granddad might have named him. I'm glad he wasn't a fan of Luther Vandross or Rick James or Lionel Richie, because that's an interesting name, man.
It is, man.
I mean, Lou Rawls.
Lou Rawls.
That's and his mama's name is Mona Lisa, so that's something interesting. Anyway, like I said, lame joke coming, but I think Forbes has been impressive. The aforementioned Lou Rawls is not a shooter right now. He's kind of doing what's the little guard up in the Hoosier. He got a nickname, Scooby. It's not Scooby.
Oh my gosh.
He's kind of playing his role. His first year when they had that loaded team, he's just man. I hate that I can't figure, because he's my favorite player in college. But they didn't make it into they got put out of the tournament early.
Right.
But anyway, he's kind of playing his role. He's just distributing the ball while everybody else gets off. So, man, I think that's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, the thing about it, Michigan State, we're going to move on, but they definitely, everybody knows their roles. Everybody knows, what they can contribute to the team. And I think that they're playing their best basketball at the right time. Quick question for you. Is Coach Izzo the best doing it right now?
I'd have to. It's hard to compete with, doing the most with the least. He's probably it. And he's not recruiting the one and dones. He's taking raw materials and turning them into finished goods by that fourth year. He's got a lot of players littering in the, in NBA rosters. It's kind of like arguing the best of some rappers, This rapper does these things great, and this rapper over here does these things great. They're both going double platinum. Who's better? It just, I think I like the approach that the approach and the results that that Izzo is getting versus everybody else.
Yeah, and I think I can go with you. I think you summed it up pretty well. Moving right along, March Madness, UK. Watching Kentucky play it reminds me a little bit of the last few games that Kentucky has played. It reminds me of I think Rocky IV. You know how Rocky went over into the Soviet Union and fought the big Russian, and everybody was against him, and eventually when he started winning, the folks started cheering for Rocky. So I'm gonna flip that a little bit with UK. It seems like UK, when they come to the gym, everybody loves them. Everybody wants to see them have an undefeated season. But as the game goes along, it becomes, there's more Notre Dame fans. There's more, who else did they play?
West Virginia.
West Virginia fans. But who else? Who was the other close game they had? It was Notre Dame, and they had another close game. Or was that it?
I thought that was it so far.
It was just Notre Dame. Okay, good. Okay, got you. So it's just Notre Dame. But the thing about it is, it seems like everybody is against, UK and Coach Calipari. When it comes to the game, and I don't know, is it because they don't like UK and Kentucky, or is it a little jealousy there?
I'm struggling with this, and I know Calipari. A lot of people take him or leave him. Most people leave him. He acts like he has the hardest job in the league. I mean, in college basketball. And his post game and his halftime interviews, he's got that whiny face anyway, but it's become a performance in itself, and I get it. And the team travels well. They have the one actress up in the stands and whatnot, Ashley Judd, and I get it, but I'm gonna say, man, and I like Kellogg because he's been spot on with them the whole way. Each game when people tried to, present an argument of who was gonna get these guys a game, but I want to see history, man, and I don't understand it. I want to see history in my lifetime. The 60s, 70s had Coach Wooden. The 80s had the Indiana team, or was that 76 or something, whatever.
Right.
They had their undefeated team. I'm getting tired of teams getting to the finish line and not finishing it. So I want to see history. And I also, as I've gotten a chance to listen to those young men, and see that, the twins came back, or one of the twins came back. I like to see this band of brothers. All the guys are humble and realistic. I mean, they're down to earth, and I just want to see them finish what they started.
Yeah, man. And the thing about UK, the kids on the team are very humble kids. I saw an interview with them. I think they must have played on. They had a Thursday, Saturday schedule, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. So maybe they had an interview on that Sunday. After they had won their game and clinched the Final Four appearance. And I think it was Cauley Stein, one of the twins, and I can't remember who the other player was on the interview panel with Coach Calipari. But I mean, it was no brash talking. It was no, we think we're the best, pumping out our chest. It was just more like, man, I can't wait to get off this panel so I can go play PlayStation.
Exactly.
Or whatever they may do. It just seems that, those are humble kids. Seems like Coach Calipari is doing a good job, and if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, my bad. But it seems like he's doing a good job with them, and more importantly, the parents, whoever, their home front and whoever's raising them and getting them to where they need to be. It looks like they've done a good job with those kids, because I mean, we're talking about kids that are not only traveled around with high fanfare everywhere they go. I mean, they've been the best of the best probably all through, since they've been playing AAU basketball. So, that can kind of swell a kid's head. But from what I'm seeing, those kids are grounded, are humble, and they really have their eye on the prize, because, with that Notre Dame game, they could have easily cracked. We're not talking about a bunch of seniors here. We're still talking about, freshmen and sophomores that are, making huge contributions to the team. So I just think that, they're battle tested, and I'm with you, Wood. I want to see them guys go ahead and run a table, because for one, I'm not a big fan of college basketball as it is. So, my UD Flyers is my heart. They're gone. But other than that, I just want to see a team go undefeated and win every game and make some good history. So let's see what happens.
Right. Like I said, I'm a Michigan fan, and I like Syracuse is one of my backup teams. I like to see Michigan State do well, but I just feel like I want to see some history, man. That's what's important to me.
Yeah. So what's happening is, now that we're getting down to the Final Four, I guess pretty much everyone's favorites in the game will probably be Kentucky. I'm assuming, unless you're a Wisconsin fan, and probably Duke against Michigan State. So that brings me to my next point of the best NBA prospect. We may get a chance to see that, live and in person, because I believe right now on everyone's, mock draft board, you have Towns and Okafor like 1 and 2 as being, the number one pick, flip a coin. So we'll get to see them, I guess, play against each other and go heads up if, the favorites win the game. So I'm just saying it's a big if. I'm not counting out Wisconsin, and I'm definitely not counting out Michigan State, because we know what they can do. But, I'm just saying that, who do you think is the best draft prospect, NBA prospect right now? Or maybe you don't think it's neither one of those guys. Maybe you have somebody else. But if you had to pick between those two or somebody else, who would you say is your best NBA draft prospect?
If I'm a GM, or if I get that, if I have those, if my ball is the one that's pulled out of the lottery in a couple of months, I think the guy I'm going with, and maybe I could be a little premature or just a prisoner of the moment, but I'm running with Winslow.
Okay.
When I see a 4 in college, 6'8", this guy is about the size of LeBron. When I see him rebound the ball and turn around and not even look to, for the guard, but he just runs the floor with the ball and gets down there and makes the pass or takes it to the bucket, I think he's a difference maker right now, and he's having a new career high every game. So I mean, I hate the fact that he is a freshman, but I think for upside, that might be my guy.
Okay. Yeah.
He can shoot it. He rebounds.
Yes, he does.
He can. That he's at that height where he probably could average 8 or 10 points next year in the league.
Yep.
But what you like about him is that he's big enough to defend LeBron or Kawhi Leonard. So or aging Wade and my man in New York, Melo. So
Right.
I just like that about him.
Yeah, and I can't knock you for that one. I think that's a great, excellent choice. I'm just gonna go ahead and I think a lot of things that we're going, through the social media and also, that's been traveling around through the internet. Who's the best between Towns and Okafor? I'm gonna say if I had to start a team, or if I had the number one pick, not start a team. If I had the number one pick, I may go with Towns. And
I said that last week. That was where I was headed last
yeah.
week.
And at first, earlier in the year, it might have been Okafor, but now that I watched him, we've been actually watching some March Madness basketball, so I've watched Duke play. Not a huge Duke fan at all, but I noticed about Okafor that may hurt him. He can't get off the ground, I don't think, Wood. I don't think he jumps very well.
Are you on this? We getting off the script a little bit, and might have to make up some time. But are you disappointed with his fitness as a young man?
It's something different about that cat, isn't it?
It's that'd be a notch against him for me. And I know he could be like Melo. Melo's body has changed, but Okafor I think is gonna have to get with that team nutritionist or whatever dietitian and get right.
Yeah. And the thing about Duke, and this is why I don't, as good as Coach K is as a coach and as a recruiter and as helping these young men become adults and fully grown men, his teams never play defense. So I went and studied some film and watched Okafor play in some defensive sets. I mean, his defensive IQ, as good as his offensive game is, I mean, he is very skilled offensively.
Right.
But his defensive game, is just, I've seen him where, a ball carrier, I mean, not ball carrier football, but a person with the ball dribbling basketball goes right around him for a layup. It's like he just looks at them. He doesn't challenge. He doesn't try to block any shots. I don't know is it because he's tired. As you mentioned, he needs to get a nutrition. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like he's not very interested in, defending the ball. And the thing about it is, I think if he would, step up his defensive game, I think it'd take Duke to another level. I think they definitely have the talent to win it all, but I think defensively, that's a huge liability for them, and it starts with Okafor as being the best player on the team. I would go with Towns because I think he has more of the well-rounded game. I've seen him where he's even knocked down a couple mid-range jumpers, but he also has hits a couple of shots, right inside the three-point line. So that's a shot that he can develop probably and continue to grow and become like one of those stretch fours, or, I don't know if he's going to play the 4 or the 5, but I think he can develop that part of his game. I just think he has a more of a higher ceiling than Okafor. I could be wrong, but
no, that's what my assessment was.
So I'm just going to say I would go with Towns as the best NBA prospect between the two. Also, I like that kid from OSU. I like a kid.
Russell.
I like a kid like you just said, man. I like a kid that can get that rebound, take the ball all the way to the rack and do something with it, man. You have to be able to finish above the rim. And I think Russell can do that. I think, like you said, Winslow, I think he definitely can do that. And I think those are the kind of guys that you're looking for at the next level, because you have to be dynamic. And I think those are two of the guys that are dynamic and can be that way at the next level.
Cincy UK was the other close game.
Okay, thank you.
For a half at least.
Thanks, man.
Most of the second, just to close that off.
Theory. Thank you.
I've been impressed with Decker, and I don't want to compare him to another white player just because that's the obvious connection. So I was thinking, though, I don't know if he's a Hayward in Utah or Parsons that moved over to Dallas, or maybe like a Corey Brewer type role for with Houston. He's done some big things, man. Those threes that he hit, of course, that's just, like I said, being a prisoner of the moment. He disappeared at times throughout the season. So it'll be interesting. I know the word came out that he held his own against LeBron James at LeBron's camp. But then I heard Seth Greenberg break it down, and he said LeBron really didn't guard him that seriously. He got away on a couple of backdoor passes and finished with some dunks. So I like to see. I think if you can get a Decker, you'll have a nice young player. But like you said, I think for my money now, to have you a big in Towns, that's what I would run with. I know we getting ready to move off of here. I wanted to go back to that Notre Dame game real quick. I had no doubt they were ever going to lose that game personally. But on that last play, is Carly Stein the next, like, Chandler guy? I mean,
Yeah.
But to see him run down the sidelines with Jerry, he played cornerback
Yep.
in high school at
Yes, sir.
6'11". And I just thought that that experience from doing that in high school really helped him out on that play, because he never let Jerry cross him over and get into the middle of the field, in the middle of the court, and challenge anything else. But, he had to go. He went where he played some press technique on him and kept him over there. So I just see him being the next Chandler, a guy that catches dunks, tips, plays good defense, and probably has a solid career.
Yeah, 7 foot legit too, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely possible with him. And the thing about that, he rolled him all the way down the court and didn't foul him.
Didn't reach.
I know,
moved his
you're a
feet.
basketball guy. You know about that.
Hey, I was impressed on that lad. At no moment did I even interrupt eating my popcorn or whatever to think that a big shot was coming.
Yeah, that was definitely impressive. That's great film for him too, isn't it?
That's all you got to show.
There it is. Anything else? NCAA talks?
No, I think I'm gonna stay with. I'm gonna ride with UK. Obviously, I do think Duke will probably advance, but I wouldn't be shocked with what the Spartans have going on right now, and we'll see. Now, I will say one thing. The only thing that I don't like about Frank Kaminsky in Wisconsin is that every player who's opened his mouth this tournament has went home after opening his mouth.
Yep.
Daxter Miles at West Virginia, and then Montrezl Harrell for Louisville versus Michigan State. Frank actually went out on social media. He didn't really bang on his chest, but he just made a comment talk about Big Ten basketball now, and it's like, why couldn't you just keep it? Now he's praising his conference more so than him or his team, but he's just spoke up now and put a little bulletin board material up there. So now you got to back it up.
The thing about it is, and I know you mentioned him as one of your NBA prospects. I know one guy who's ready to rock and roll right now. That Decker kid, man, it's something about him, man. If he gets hot and he can find a way to change the game a little bit with this play, they got a shot.
I think Hayes is an X factor. I've been saying Hayes was an X factor all along. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
And he hit those big threes, after he came off the bench last week with foul trouble. So, yeah, if Decker and Hayes show up, UK they had their hands full.
Yeah, Hayes stay in college another year though. Go ahead and stay in there and be the man next year.
He got to flash some ball handling skills.
Yes, sir. I mean, I know they say that his stock is rising a little bit. A couple shots that he hit, as you mentioned, may get him in the first round. But if he's listening, or anybody listening to that knows him, he needs to stay another year.
Couldn't hurt.
Yes, sir. So moving along, NBA, are we ready?
Moving on.
So we're going to go to NBA talk, man. It's just like I said, it's getting towards the end of the year. A lot of teams are, pretty much know where they are playoff standing wise. But it's not been a lot of talk about the NBA and the games and what position the teams are. It's been a lot of talk, chatter coming out of, up there in the Northeast Ohio, up in Cleveland. This Kevin Love and LeBron James, type of relationship, love-hate relationship that is just causing some distraction, maybe possibly within the team. Maybe it's not anything going on. Maybe it's just the media hyping it up, another East Coast, West Coast type beef. But at any rate, what's going on there, man?
I tell you, I had a total different direction to go with this and my own original thoughts. And then just as I was heading over here to do the show, I heard about Brian Windhorst. He had an appearance on Bill Simmons' BS Report, his podcast. And he actually said that David Blatt's Princeton offense, LeBron threw that out the window. At some point this year, 3 months ago, LeBron said, we're not running that no more. And he said, by and large, LeBron has installed his own offense. They run his plays. And Windhorst even went on to say that after LeBron calls out the play, Blatt takes his cue from him and then yells the play to the team on the court.
Oh my gosh.
And then he went on to say that now when he said when they do come out of sets, this is straight from Windhorst, and Windhorst has been with LeBron since high school.
Yes, sir.
St. Vincent, St. Mary. So he said that, we're second-hand reporting it, but second-hand smoke here. But he said that coming out of a timeout, Blatt does suggest plays, or Tyronn Lue, they suggest plays, and if LeBron wants to go with that, I'm gonna end it, man. That was the story. LeBron has basically taken over the team. So now to answer your question, if you're Love, how do you look at this as another professional?
That's tough, man, because, and the thing about it, we have been on this situation or relationship for a long time because, I think in one of our earlier shows we said that is LeBron James stealing Kevin Love's thunder? We're talking about Kevin Love, who was on pace to maybe having a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
Points. He played for a sucky team, but he still had the points. He was all-star year after year. I don't think he made the all-star team this year, did he?
He didn't.
He did not make the all-star team. And, he was definitely one of the stars of the league, but now he's with Cleveland and things aren't, as bright as it used to be as far as individual accolades. So in saying that, I know when LeBron left and, Gilbert, has some foul things to say about LeBron James. And I don't know if some of these things are coming to light now because, down in Miami with Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade, those are two egomaniacs themselves. So, they're not going to let LeBron, do too much and overtake what they're trying to accomplish. But I know when LeBron left Cleveland the first time, and I know Gilbert, that's the owner, right? Dan Gilbert.
Right.
He either put a letter out there or wrote something to LeBron talking about how he can be selfish and, how I'm not covering up, for some of his things that he does up under the scene where you got to hire all his friends as, the ball boy, head of security,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. He's kind of baby-fied and, he just was, bringing some of that stuff to light. So is LeBron kind of okay, I don't want to say he's a diva, but is he that kind of person to where it has to be either his way or the highway?
Now that I've heard this story, I think that corroborates that. And I told you when he went to that, what did he go to was it a football game earlier in the year? Whatever. I'm just saying, Windhorst also mentioned that a game that they played against Atlanta earlier this year, that LeBron just came in and told the coaching staff he wasn't playing.
Wow.
And I believe he did miss a game against Atlanta, but I guess LeBron wanted to make a statement to the team like, do it without me. And he didn't play that game. And this is coming from Windhorst. This isn't what I just saw in a forum or in some comments on Instagram. This is, and I might even check the BS Report podcast out that Windhorst was on. This is what his man is saying. So I think that's pretty damaging in my opinion. And you saw LeBron was at wasn't he at one of the March Madness games the other day?
LeBron does what he want to do.
Who does that during the season? So it's a different day, man. It's a different day.
It's definitely a different day, and I'm not gonna stay on this too long, but I know I was having a conversation with some guys, during happy hour. Big shout out to McCormick and Schmidt's happy hour. They have the best happy hour. Please check it out. At any rate, we need to get some coins for that plug. But anyway,
right.
No, but
we'll edit that out.
We're gonna edit that. But anyway, LeBron. I was talking to these guys and they were just saying LeBron is the best. Compare him to Michael Jordan. Compare him, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, LeBron James is like 2-4 in finals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he wants this Michael Jordan status. Because I'm sure Michael Jordan was a heck of a person to deal with also. I'm assuming.
Right.
But come on, LeBron. I mean, you have to win a little bit more to get that kind of top tier, I'm the best player in the league treatment. And he is the best player in the league, but seemed like he would be a better teammate also. I just don't know. Something about LeBron just strikes me as being a little bit different when it comes to being a leader off the court. And I think some of that, kind of, follows him to the court, and it kind of hurts the team. They definitely had a team that can win it all. When Atlanta is the number 1 seed right now as we speak in the East, they definitely can beat Atlanta in a 7-game series. But I just don't know. I don't know if Kevin Love will stick around, and be there for several years to come.
I think money and how far they go will play a part in that decision. And regarding Kevin Love sticking around, I was hard on LeBron so much from the beginning. I'm just gonna say, man, I feel like it's a lot of other. He's just at a moment when he's physically better. He's been in better situations. He plays harder than most people, and these other players have just moved about and switched teams and left good situations or changed up situations. And like Melo, perfect example. And the other talent in the league isn't there to really challenge him. So he looks head and shoulder above the field because everybody else is decision making.
Right.
But it'll be interesting this year to see who they run in if they make it out of the Eastern Conference Finals. It would be interesting how they did against another top team.
So speaking about the Eastern Conference and Eastern Conference playoffs, so right now we have some. I guess Atlanta is clearly going to be the number 1 seed. We're not going to talk about the top seeds. Let's look at the bottom of the list where you have the 7th seed Miami Heat, the 8th seed Brooklyn Nets, and the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. They're all separated by 2 games. I mean, how do you see that shaking out? Do you think that Miami and Brooklyn will hold on to the 7th and 8th spot, or you think one of these teams up under them will, possibly take those over?
I would root for, personally as a fan, from watching the game as an observer, I would pull for the Pacers to pull it out. I like what Vogel's doing this year, and if I think Paul George is still trying to play this year, if he can make it back. I would probably pull for them, man. I like I said, I think for Miami, in a way, and they got beat last night, did they, by the Spurs?
Did they? Yep.
Got a yes from Chuck.
Yep.
And I got a point about that too. But if I was Miami, I'd probably drop some of these games, rest some people and whatnot. Like I said, get a draft pick and restart rebuilding that team. The Nets, I support nothing with that point guard. Jason Williams.
Yep.
I can't support nothing that he leads. So I'm gonna go with the Pacers by default.
Yeah, what's his name? Is it William? It's Darren
Williams.
Yeah. I would like to see the playoffs start today, and I want to see Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers bang as a 2-7, right?
I didn't even think about that.
So that'll be a good matchup for them, because from what Mr. Dwayne Wade has been saying lately, that he's the healthiest he's been in years. I see your hair looking. Your face is classic, but anyway, he's the healthiest he's been in years. So maybe Mr. Dwayne Wade can give the Cleveland Cavaliers a nice run, in a 7-game. It's 7 games in the first round, too, right? So maybe
that's some theater right there.
Yes, it is. And if we have to go with the number 8 seed, let's go with, like you said, the Pacers. I mean, what happened to the Charlotte Hornets? I thought Charlotte was one of those up-and-coming teams. I thought they had finally turned the corner. But now they're like, outside of the playoffs looking in. What's up with that?
With Al Jefferson and Kemba. And I think Stevenson went down there and busted up that chemistry, man.
That's sad, man.
He was a guy expecting to be the second, maybe even first option for large stretches of the game. And it just hasn't worked out this year.
Yep. You're definitely right, man. I don't know about that Stevenson.
That's Lance Stevenson. Yeah, Lance Stevenson.
Yeah, Lance Stevenson. I thought he would go down there and actually help them, but it looks like he's definitely make them take a few steps back. Anything else with the playoffs?
No, I just want to go back. We don't even have to talk MVP this week. I'm just going to say, man, for my Spurs, last night Harlan mentioned during the game that was the 17th or 18th straight game where they've had a double-digit lead. Looks like we got a call coming in, so we're just gonna come back to that.
Caller, what's your first name and where you calling from?
Adam, Troy, Ohio.
Hey, what's up, Adam? What you got for us tonight, man?
Hey, just wanted to talk Final Four.
Okay, we just ran through that. What you got for us? What's your take on it? What's your breakdown of it?
Okay, just kind of give my input on it. I was thinking about, and man, I'd love to see the two Big Ten teams square off in the final. I know both of them are the underdogs going into the final matchup and stuff, but you never know. Maybe they'll pull an Ohio State like they did in football, kind of take everybody by surprise and come out on top.
That would be obviously being in this region of the country. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And like I said, I think despite there not being a Cinderella impact this year, you know, us not having that double-digit seeded team make it through, I think we have the four excellent teams, you know, all big-name programs. We're not all going into this final stretch of games wondering if somebody's, you know, if this Cinderella team is going to crush, you know, they're going to wilt under the bright lights.
I mean, anything can happen in those games. I think Duke got beat out by Notre Dame in the ACC tournament, and Kentucky, I mean, it came down to the wire last game. So, I mean, Michigan State's playing well. Wisconsin's not bad. I mean, I could see it happening. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think a good portion of people around this part of the country are probably pulling for those two teams to possibly match up.
Yeah, we definitely agree with you. Let me ask you this question: what do you think it'll take for like your Michigan State and for your Wisconsin, for both those teams to, you know, pull off the upset? What would be some of the keys to victory for those guys?
I think the biggest thing will be probably their star players come out and playing well. I mean, Michigan State, you got Trice playing. I mean, if he's on his game, and if Kaminsky from Wisconsin's on his game, I think those guys match up well with both teams that they're playing.
I think you just hit the nail on the head, man. I think when it comes to this Final Four and actually winning it all, I think you need your star players to have special nights, and I think that's what it's going to take, you know, for Wisconsin to definitely unseat and beat Kentucky. They're going to have Kaminsky, and they're going to have Decker, and they're going to have Mr. Hayes. They're all going to have big nights, offensively and defensively. They're going to have to rebound the ball well, and they're going to have to, you know, actually get some lucky breaks. You need sometimes the basketball guys to shine on you to actually be victorious, and that definitely needs to happen for Michigan State. But the thing about Michigan State that we do know, I think they're going to be close in the game, and I may be a little bit naive with this, but I think they're going to be close because they play that tough, hard-nosed Big Ten defense. I think that may be something that can keep them close with Duke. How you feel about that?
I would agree. I would agree with that. They're always coming out playing hard, and I don't know. Over the years, you kind of never underestimate a Tom Izzo coach team. He seems to get the most out of his players, and they seem to bring their A game most years and stuff. So I could definitely see him keeping up neck and neck with those guys.
All right, you got anything else for us this week, man? There's a lot of other sports news happening this week. Anything else you got on your mind?
Let's see. Baseball's right around the corner, so I'm kind of excited to see that get in the full swing. The only thing about that is, though, I mean, it's so early in the season. There's not any playoff races, but there's always an excitement at the start of the season. Kind of get summer's on its way and warm weather and stuff like that. So that's always got to put you in a good mood and stuff. So.
Is there any team, any trade or anything? I know baseball news happened months ago, but is there any player that's in a new face in a new place that you're interested to see what impact they have on a team, or a new manager like Madden being in Chicago? I mean, do you think Jason Stewart or Hayward is in St. Louis coming over from Atlanta? Is it any good stories you think that you'd like to see how they play out this year?
I think you'll see some of your typical teams like Boston picking up what's his name from San Francisco in the off season. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I know Sandoval. I think
Oh yeah,
people will be
you're right.
interested to see him, and I mean the Cubs and the Cardinals. I mean, I think what you're going to see is a lot of those teams that you've seen over the years and stuff. There'll be a lot of attention on those teams, and then I think another thing to watch will be to see how a team like Kansas City rebounds from being in the World Series. Do they have another strong year, or do they fall off a little bit? And then I think you throw a team like Detroit in there. They've been consistent the last couple of years, and they signed Price to a longer term contract. And can they? I think it was longer term, but I know he's with them for at least another year or two.
Yeah, I think they got 2 years out of it.
Can they get over the hump finally? So I think those will be some interesting things to see. I think the AL Central will be a tight race this year. I know Cleveland's looking pretty good this year too, so that'll be interesting to watch that division, see how that one plays out.
All right. Anything else before you go? We're going to try to clear up the line in case we got new callers coming in. Anything to go as you get off of here?
No, not really. So that's really all I had. So it'll be interesting to see how the Final Four plays out this weekend, and talk about the games next week and how they played out. So.
All right. Well, we hope you do call back and chop it up with us about the surprises or disappointments or anything that may have happened, man. All right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
See ya. Bye.
See
you. Hey everybody, Chuck here with the first update of the night. We had the Warriors playing the Clippers in a rivalry game. The Warriors edged out the Clippers 110-106, and there is a really nasty crossover from Steph Curry over Chris Paul. Literally sat him on the court. It is worth checking out. The Hawks beat the Bucks 101-88. Kyle Korver helped the Hawks pull away in the third quarter by scoring 11 points in 60 seconds. The UD women's Flyers team fell short against the Lady Huskies 91-70 and brought their run to an end, but they did reach a very high point, the highest they have ever reached in the history of the program. Kentucky did embarrass West Virginia 78-39 and then barely slipped past Notre Dame 68-66 to move on to the Final Four this weekend. There's a video right now going around of Seattle's Russell Wilson crushing a home run at batting practice just recently, and it'll be interesting to see if he takes his baseball playing further than spring training. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube page. Back to you guys.
So what the point that I wanted to make, I know we want to move on. We got some calls coming in early this week, but I just wanted to say for my Spurs, man, Harlan mentioned 17 or 18 games in a row with a double-digit lead. So I think they're definitely picking it up. And then I also saw another ESPN guy online, one of their reporters who put it out there last night that Kawhi had his 18th straight game with double-digit scoring, and that's the best stretch in his career. So I just feel like in watching them against Miami last night, I see a team that may be that 5th or 6th seed, but they can make some noise going into the tournament. And a month ago we weren't sure of whether they could get back there.
Yeah, we definitely talked about the Spurs. I know that's your team, and I know we were
after the Pistons. Now
sorry.
Right,
after the Pistons.
After
I know
the Pistons.
you like after the Pistons. Wood gave me that look, but anyway, the Spurs. I know you have been big on Tony Parker. You said that Tony Parker needs to step it up. He needs to get back to playing like his old self. And I think he was injured, and now he's getting to that point where he's feeling healthy again. And I know I was big on Leonard, with him being considered the future of the franchise. I thought that he needed to step up. And I think both of those players are definitely doing what they need to do to get the Spurs back where they need to be. And I guarantee you there's no team in the West that wants to see them, on the other side of the court when it comes to jump ball time.
And that's not fair, really, to run into a couple Hall of Famers.
Not at all.
And one of the new, a new up and comer, and then all them shooters that they have. So that's really kind of
the best coach in the biz.
Right, and the best coach in the biz. That's a tough matchup if you're one of those top seed teams. My last stat was that, and you're probably well aware of it, that Golden State their win differential or points differential per game is one of the all-time best, or all the 6 or 7 teams that have finished with similar points above, winning above their opponents every game, they've taken that championship at the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Golden State can finish it out. I'll just leave it there. My last question, I know we tried to throw some random stuff in here to trip us up. JJ Redick.
Yeah.
He not having a bad year. Like I said last week with Rudy Gay, JJ Redick's not having a bad career or year.
No, JJ Redick, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I read a stat where JJ Redick is one of the leading scorers in the NBA in the first quarter or something.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think maybe the first 5 minutes of a game.
I could see that.
One stat that I was reading one night, JJ Redick definitely, when the game starts, he gets his game off. He's definitely a true professional. He's a pro's pro. I think a lot of guys, need to actually mimic his preparation and his care and love for the game, because he brings it every night, man. And I think he's, how many years? 8, 9 years, maybe?
It's somewhere in that.
So
in that area.
He's had a great long career. And this is a guy who really a lot of people didn't think would last long in the NBA.
Exactly.
And because he's not that tall. He's about 6'4", maybe 6'5",
something like that.
And also he doesn't have the great handle.
No.
So he's not the point guard. So
looks like he's in his 9th year.
So 9th year. So he's like he's found his niche, man. And I think what he knows is he needs to be instant offense. Needs to get in the flow of the game early on. As the game starts. And I think it carries him through, because one thing about JJ Redick, and he's gonna be consistent. He's gonna be consistent. He's gonna be a person you can count on. And one thing he will do is, if you give him an open shot and he gets an opportunity to set his feet, he's gonna hit it. He's gonna knock it down.
He's averaging 16.1 this year, 47%.
That many points?
47.7 from the field and 43 from 3 points. So all career highs. I just wanted to throw that out there. I like shedding light on people that's getting it done, man.
That's good. And the thing about it, like last week, I know Reg mentioned Rudy Gay. Sorry, Mr. Wood. He mentioned Rudy Gay and JJ Redick.
Edit that out.
Yeah, we'll edit that out. So we're definitely gonna bring to light some teams and players that are doing things a lot of people are not checking for. Anything else with the NBA?
No, let's move on so we can fit in some other stuff.
Okay, moving along. The NFL football. I guess a lot of teams are pretty much, the free agency has pretty much dried up. A lot of teams have, getting prepared for the draft, seeing who they want to go.
Like 33 days out.
Yeah,
34.
And it's a big day for the NFL. It's a big day across the globe, because everybody likes the NFL draft. They had the NFL combine for the veteran players, I think maybe last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and Michael Sam was there, and I heard that during the combine, a lot of the players actually ran slow 40 times. I heard that the clock, or I guess they're doing a laser now. The laser was a little bit slower than usual. Do you think it hurt or helped the veteran players?
I don't know if it can really help them. Hopefully, I'm confused with this veteran combine altogether. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I saw that Sam ran like a 4.99. I thought he ran better in the rookie a year ago in
Right.
Indianapolis. So I don't know how then you're doing the dancing thing. So I don't know how he helped himself. But, I wish all those guys, hey, if you can get a second chance, hopefully there's some diamonds in there. I saw Dallas signed McClain today for another year for $3 million,
Yep.
and he was out of football the year before. So take advantage of these opportunities.
Definitely, man. I hate to see when these guys have done so much for the game and they hit a certain age limit, or they're deemed as not being as productive as they were in the past. Not get opportunity. But it's crazy how some of these veterans get pushed out the league, but then you have guys like Harrison, who signs another contract. Didn't Harrison just sign another 2-year deal?
I mean, not Marvin.
Yeah.
My
James.
man is James in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he signed another contract. So I guess there
with
is
the Steelers though, right?
with the Steelers. I guess there was a bidding war with the Steelers, and who was the other team who wanted him? Did LeBeau go to another? I think he's
Oh
coaching.
yeah, LeBeau did move on.
He moved to whoever LeBeau is with, coaching with now.
You got
That's-
Chuck on it.
That was the two teams who were bidding for James Harrison services, the Pittsburgh Steelers and LeBeau's new team where he's at. So at any rate, some veterans are still getting paid, but it's just tough that, some of them get pushed out the league due to, their age or not being as deemed as productive. Because I guess football is a game of inches and, every tick and every second counts. So I guess it's all about, it's all about what have you done for me lately? And if it's not a big good look lately, you're getting pushed out.
That's what I wanted to say. LeBeau went to the Titans, but I didn't want to seem foolish in front of everybody.
Oh man, it's all good.
Yeah, Harrison. I think Harrison did well for himself because he came back in shape, and I think coaches, league wide, are looking for pieces that what you're getting. And so it's good that some of these guys get, they get a stay on their career.
And speaking of the Steelers and Harrison, Coach Tomlin and the Steelers are becoming a huge offensive unit, man. They're doing big things with their offense, and they're scoring a lot of points, getting a lot of yards. I think they might have had the top offense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I thought they had the top scoring offense last year.
In the NFL last year, but they still didn't make any huge noise when it came to the playoffs. Of course, they had the huge heartbreaking injury to Mr. Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
They're probably hurting their chances. I mean, he was a huge part of their, their offense. But are the Steelers changing their identity from that type of ground and pound, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type offense? And we're going to play hard-nosed defense to where, we're not going to give up a lot of points. We're going to hold you down to minimum, yards on the ground. Are they changing the blueprint to that type of, tough-nosed, Steel City mentality to a more aerial attack, more offensive-minded? Let's put some points on the boards and outscore you?
I think they've lucked up with some of these receivers in the last couple of years. I know Brian is one of them. You got Bell at tailback. You got a vet in Ben throwing the ball who still got a lot of arm strength, seemingly. So I just think it's easier. It's an easier proposition to say we can put points up on the board versus every year trying to field a top 5 defense to stop all of these. It's we don't know what the next new gimmick is or the new trend or ripple is on a wrinkle is on offense with the zone read, some of the spread, some of the college elements being brought in. So instead of trying to adjust to that stuff every year, we lucked around and got the former Oregon Duck wide receiver, and some of these guys are showing us. Oh, and my main man, 84, the wide receiver.
Oh.
You can see we away from the football season.
Goodness.
It just had the monster season that he had.
Come on. Antonio
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah,
Right.
so you got Brown, Bryant, they got a dude in the slot.
Shame on us.
They got talent all over the place. So I think it's just a coming to the realization that, hey, like I said, we still in our DNA is defense, but being able to lead, build a bigger lead than just trying to win by 4 points. If we can win by 10, we'll do it that way.
Definitely, man. And the thing about it is it definitely is helping out and winning championships for the New England Patriots.
Right.
They don't have the best defense,
Right.
but they definitely know how to score some points and score some timely points, when they need to. I can remember when, who was that? What's his name? Todd Haley?
Yeah.
Actually took over for Bruce Arians, who used to be the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know when Haley came on board initially, him and
Antonio Brown.
Did I say Antonio Hayes?
No, I think you said Anthony Brown. I'm just clear.
Okay, cool.
Antonio.
Antonio Brown, good. So I know that when Haley had initially came on, him and Big Ben, they clashed a lot because he thought that Big Ben was holding on the ball too long and taking too many sacks. And really, I thought what Coach Haley has implemented with getting the ball out of Roethlisberger's hands, a little bit sooner is kind of, prolonging his career because I think for 3 years straight, Big Ben may have been the most hit quarterback in the NFL. So, you don't want to take those hits, especially as you get older. I know Big Ben is tough. He's definitely a hard-nosed type of guy. But you don't want to take those hits because it, kind of derail your career. So he's going to a more quick strike attack offense and getting the ball out of Big Ben. But their running back is so dynamic, man. Le'Veon Bell is really, I didn't think he would be that good coming out of Michigan State.
Oof.
It's just that he came and actually took the NFL by storm because he was kind of heavier at Michigan State. He never really broke off the big runs in college because the thing about college football, I look at a running back. If a running back is not breaking off big runs in college, because you're getting tackled by those 180-pound DBs, in college that is not near the level when you get to the NFL. Those grown man DBs, they bring you down. And he never really had those big runs in college. But, now that he's moved on to the NFL, he's breaking off those big runs. Of course, he's gotten to tremendous shape. He lost how many pounds last year? 20, 25 pounds?
I wanted to say 20.
Yeah, so he's doing big things. But I still think that if Pittsburgh wants to get back and make that dominant run in the AFC North, they have to get to that, playing that smash mouth defense because quite as it is kept right now, I think the Cincinnati Bengals, man.
I'm sorry. No, man, I'm sorry. I'm not questioning you.
But I just think the Cincinnati Bengals, man, I really believe that. I think that they're going to be the team to beat in the AFC North for the next 3 or 4 years. I think if they can, sign, AJ Green and if some of those guys come back healthy like Geno Atkins and Vontaze Burfict, man, I really believe in my heart that Cincinnati is a team to beat in the AFC North. I think they'll win a division again, for many years to come. Also, I know they'll definitely make the playoffs as a wild card no matter what.
Especially with them possibly adding that other one. I don't know if that was this year or not. But anyway, I'm not gonna even debate that. I've told you that Cincinnati's talent the cupboard is full. I just wanted to throw in there the other receiver I was thinking about was Marcus Wheaton. Then, like I said, Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, and then you still have Dre Archer. And then to close it off, they brought over D'Angelo Williams to spell Bell. So
right.
I like to see what they do next year. So
yeah, definitely. Just to continue on real quick with the NFL, maybe we don't want to get too touched with the subject, but Michael Sam made a comment about there's other players. Of course, Michael Sam is an openly gay player in NFL, which is no issues here. But he made some comments that maybe there are other gay players in the NFL. Do you think that's a true statement, or do you think he's the one who should be making that statement, or just how do you feel about it, period?
I went out to lunch the other day and heard Stephen A. setting up his lineup, and he was getting ready to get into that, and I had to go back in, and I didn't feel like listening at my desk, but he was upset with Sam. Like you said, we got that, things going on in Indiana right now, in Arkansas with legislation dealing with some homosexuality and whatnot. We don't want to get all into that, but I just think if those players told Sam this stuff in confidence, then I hate to see him now coming out and saying, letting this out the bag. But if these guys freely just, had the discussion and said, please do not name me, that's one thing. I just think this goes back to from the very beginning with Tony Dungy and the comments that he made. I don't want to be dealing with a bunch of non-football stuff. And I just think this is kind of indicative of what he was talking about. And I just feel like Sam, the one comment that he did make was that I'm just saying there are some famous people. So now this year it's going to be those that want to sit there and look at certain things that the big name players do to see if it lines up with any stereotypes that we have of, homosexual behavior and whatnot. I just thought, man, it was something. I wish this dude would just work on his craft.
Yes, sir.
And if he's gonna be on the, if he's gonna make a roster, make one. But I just wouldn't. I think and being that I'm off of a roster, I think I just would have kept my mouth shut.
I think you just hit the nail on the head again. The thing about it is, you know, when there's some, not controversy, but when there's some things hanging over your head that may not be as easily acceptable. So I think you don't need to bring more attention to yourself. I just think you need to just not keep your head down, but that's what that's what the players now are saying. I just want to keep my head down, work hard, and play ball. You know what I'm saying? And I think Sam needs to definitely take that approach until he gets himself more established and more, entrenched into the NFL, because right now he's currently an outsider looking in. He's working out at the veteran combine, who's definitely for a bunch of players who's looking for some jobs. So I just think that, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't be proud of who he is and what he's about, because that's okay. But, just because I like vanilla ice cream, I'm not going to go around and pushing that on everybody that you should have vanilla ice cream. And I'm not saying he's doing that with his situation. But I just think that, it's a job. This is a profession. And some of the things that, goes on in our personal lives is definitely, it's a personal life. It's for our own personal, personal preference. But when you go to work every day, you have to leave that stuff at the door. You got to leave it at the door, and you got to, be focused on your job and giving your all, so you can continue to be compensated for the work that you put in. So we have another caller coming in. All right.
Caller, you on the line with the Fifth Quarter Show. What's your first name and where you calling from?
This is Bama Freddy.
Bama Fred.
Yeah.
We're just getting into a little bit of football, man. But I know you're a well-rounded sports head. What you got for us tonight, man? Good to hear from you.
What we talking about? Let me in on it.
Obviously, March Madness. We talked some NBA with the Spurs, LeBron and Kevin Love's relationship. We talked about the Steelers proclaiming to be the top offense going into next year. And then we were just getting ready to get into some draft movement. What you got for us?
Well,
I saw that. I know from a few weeks ago you said we know that you're a Chicago fan, and I saw that you guys might be looking at No, that was the Jets. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess you up. Go run with your point, man.
Well, what I was gonna say was the whole LeBron Kevin Love thing. You don't have to. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan didn't hang out and go to dinner together every night.
Exactly.
You don't have to be somebody's friend to win with them.
Exactly.
I think a lot of that's overblown just because Kevin Love's not in a selfie with LeBron. So everybody wants to make a big deal out of it. What they're trying to do is, when you're on top, people want to bring you down.
The word is that Kevin Love is not even he's just not a public guy in general. He's not a rah-rah team guy in general. Point that Jay just made was he likes to come to work, do his work, but after work he prefers to go his own way. So I just think that's what it is.
Yeah, everybody's different. That's how it does. The thing is, what they want to do, they got to create controversy to have news. It's just a part. This time of year, there's no football games, so they got to fill the time with something. So
exactly.
That's just something they're trying to brew up themselves. Talking about Kevin Love not coming back next year and this and that. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed in Cleveland.
Well, we definitely agree with you. Bama Freddy, one thing though, and this is kind of, we're all sports guys and we're loyal to our teammates. But don't you think that when the reporter, whoever asked Kevin Love who's the MVP, if he thought it was Westbrook or if he thought it was, Wood, shouldn't he at least said no comment, or shouldn't he bigged up his own teammate? I just think that, you're Bama Freddy, and you called in last week and you said, well, who should the Bears draft? And you went with the Alabama guy because you're loyal to your team. Don't you think that Love needs to show a little bit more loyalty to LeBron? And we know LeBron is sensitive, but don't you think that kind of I shouldn't say hurt his feelings, but kind of, made LeBron do a double take, like, man, this guy is talking about another teammate. I mean, another guy from another team.
Yeah, I agree with you. He should, even if you don't think it, you say you're a guy. You say you're a guy or you don't say anything at all. He could have said something like, we all have our balls. We see who the best player is. He could have said anything.
Right.
And I think, and LeBron is, look, everybody knows LeBron is overly sensitive. LeBron wants everybody to like him, and LeBron wants everybody to say everything positive about him. That's the difference between LeBron and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is sitting around and pout, about, saying things people say about him. Michael Jordan is went out and hung 38 on you, every night, and made you respect him. Michael Jordan was a killer. LeBron is not a killer. He's the best player in the world, but he's not a killer.
I agree. And like to your point, like you said, Love could have left it open ended where really he was talking about Russell Westbrook, but he didn't name anybody. But he could have been giving his opinion and in his head saying, well, I'm really talking about Russell, but leaving it open ended, it applied to LeBron too. But I guess he coming from Minnesota, maybe he's never had to be that clever with the media.
Right. He could have said, we all have eyes. We know who the best player in the world is, and left it at that.
Exactly. Anything else you got for us, man?
No, I'm just waiting for this NFL draft. I'm excited to see. Like my Bears. We're nickel and diming on defense right now. We're signing all these guys to one-year contracts. We signed Jacquizz Rodgers yesterday. I think that's a pretty good pickup. He's kind of like a poor man's Darren Sproles.
Okay.
He's kind of like a poor man's Darren Sproles. I kind of like that pickup for a third down back. But they're signing a lot of defensive guys these one-year contracts. So I wonder what they're going to do as far as I'm hearing if Amari Cooper drops down to them, they're going to take him. And one guy last week said if Mariota drops there, we'll take him. So I don't know. Right now, this draft is all over the place, but we'll see how it goes. I think Jameis Winston showed he should be the number one pick, though.
Definitely. Winston's number one. Hey, not to change gears on you, Bama Freddy. How about that Big Ten, though? We got two teams in the Final Four. Possibly, if the basketball guys are on our side, we may have two Big Ten teams compete for the championship. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I mean, Big Ten, they got the basketball thing on lock right now. And,
football.
Right now, yeah. Oh, well, whatever. But the thing is, right now I'm worried about Alabama, we're trying to find our coach. Hopefully we can get Greg Marshall. We already offered him. He hadn't turned it down yet, so that's a good thing. Hopefully we'll hear something tonight on that.
Definitely. It's time for Alabama basketball to get back to where it used to be. It used to be very respectable. I don't know what's going on. I thought Mr. Grant could do big things for you guys, but it seems like. Go ahead.
Well, Grant. The problem with Anthony Grant was he's a good coach. He really is. But his problem was he didn't want to go out and promote the sport. And in Alabama, everybody knows Alabama's a football school first. You got to go out. You got to promote the sport. You can't, after practice, just go home and have dinner with your wife and kids, especially if you're making $4 million a year. You got to go out. You got to do your head coach shows. He wouldn't do your head coach basketball shows. Everybody has to do that. He wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't do, go out on the road like Nick Saban does, like the Crimson Caravan, go from city to city, talk to the boosters. He wouldn't do none of that stuff. So he didn't endear himself to the fans. So, and if you ain't winning, they want to get rid of you quick. If you don't endear yourself to him, he did none of that. That was his problem. He really was his own worst enemy.
Okay. Hey, Bama Fred, we're going to try to get in another call real quick, man. We appreciate you calling. I did have a follow-up for you. Check out this episode. I'll do it offline.
All right. Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, guys. Chuck here again. Some major artists, including Jay-Z, Beyonce, Madonna, Kanye West, and Alicia Keys, Daft Punk, among others, have come together to launch a new platform for their music called Tidal. That's Tidal. It is owned by the artist and is looking to revolutionize the music industry. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback from the Packers, is scheduled to make an appearance on Jeopardy! The episode of Celebrity Jeopardy! Will air May 12th. Check your local listings for times. Jameis Winston, when asked why the Bucs should pick him first, responded by saying he was the best player in the draft. This came after his pro day where he threw over 100 balls, doubling the amount that anyone else threw. Be sure to subscribe to the page. Back on over to you guys.
Yeah, so tonight we're working in calls. We're trying to open it up more than just 8 to 9 just to accommodate people. So I just want to finish to help with our editing, the little bit of editing that we try to do. Like I said, I just thought Michael Sam, I hope he didn't break anybody's trust that was trying to confide in him. Everybody, he mentioned that they're not as brave as me or not as courageous as me, but everybody's not trying to be that. Some people just want to live their life. We got another call coming in.
Caller, you're on the line with the Fifth Quarter Show. What's your first name and where you calling from?
First name is Glenn. Last name, I'm from Dayton. Sorry.
Thanks for calling in, Glenn. What you got for us tonight?
Oh, I just had a Final Four question. I just was kind of curious what your guys' opinion might be as to which Big Ten team is going to knock Kentucky off.
Okay. I like Wisconsin again. I like their matchup. I think we talked about it at the top of the show. We think that Kaminsky and Hayes, they're a pretty good matchup with Kentucky's front line. So I think the issue is going to be out there with the guards for both teams, who can win that battle. But Decker could be the X factor because I don't really think that UK. I mean, they could throw one of the twins over there to guard him, but then Decker has 4 or 5 inches on one of them. So it's really Decker just, he put together back-to-back new career highs in scoring with like 23 and 27 in the last 2 games. So I think if Decker can stay hot, I really think that Wisconsin could put that pressure on UK for a third game. Well, West Virginia didn't show up, but UC put the pressure on Kentucky. And now here, if Wisconsin can stay in the game till it's late, they got a shot.
Yeah, I thought they're due to play Michigan State first, though, aren't they?
No, Michigan State is actually going to face Duke on the other side first.
Well, let's say they end up playing Michigan State. What do you think about that game against Kentucky?
I don't like the big matchup with Kentucky's bigger men versus Michigan State's bigger men. Costello and not Schilling. They do things. They show up at timely moments, but I think for them to beat a Kentucky, Costello and Schilling would need to play a pretty consistent game. And then you also have Dawson. He'd be a little shorter than those guys, and he kind of wins and scores by being more athletic than people. But we've already seen UK what they do with athletes. But Dawson could easily have a similar game to what August had in the last game versus Notre Dame. So that is possible.
Right.
So obviously you want a Big Ten showdown. Who would you take in that final with Wisconsin versus Michigan State? Who would you take there, Glenn?
If I had to pick right now, I'd take Wisconsin all the way.
Okay.
I think they're definitely the strongest of the Big Ten teams. And then I just think with what Kentucky did on over the weekend, they showed that they can be beaten. They played kind of sloppy a few times, and you just got to have a team that recognizes that and takes advantage of that. And I think Wisconsin is the kind of team that can do that. Really, I think both Big Ten teams could, but I think Wisconsin is the stronger of the two.
I will say this, sir. I think, like we said, Kentucky had a tough game with UC initially. They definitely had a tough nail biter against Notre Dame. Wisconsin is better than both those teams.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Wisconsin is definitely better than UC, and I would say that Wisconsin is better than Notre Dame also. So if Wisconsin can play their A game, I think if they can hit their 3-point shots and hit some shots from perimeter, I think they have a very good chance of upsetting Kentucky. The reason being is, one thing about Wisconsin, they've been in a lot of tight games, in this NCAA tournament, and they have yet to get rattled. They have, have definitely stayed with the game plan, have made some timely shots, and they have one thing that it always goes well is when they have big-time players. And Kaminsky, as we know, is a potential lottery pick. I think if he can somehow go off on them and, have a big game, 20, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 10, 12 rebounds, I definitely think Wisconsin can upset Kentucky.
All right. Well, I just wanted to do my son Chuck the favor of calling into the show, so I might as well contest on the day.
Hey, we appreciate it a lot, Glenn, for playing along with us tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, you have a good week, sir.
All right. Go Badgers.
Chuck here for your final update of the night. A couple games coming up this weekend. We got the Heats and the Cavs Thursday night at 8 o'clock. The Heat's trying to improve on their playoff seeding. If things were to get started today, the Heat and the Cavs would be playing a game or a series to start things off. So this could be a possible preview for the round 1 playoff matchup. The Thunder and Grizzlies play Friday at 8 o'clock. The Final Four kicks off Saturday with Michigan State versus Duke and Kentucky taking on Wisconsin. Some of you video game buffs out there might like this. On Google Maps right now, you can visit a few places around the world and play Pac-Man. You open the menu and press Enter Coin, and they'll give you a list of hints. Happy hunting. And this concludes my break. Subscribe to the page. Back on over you guys.
All right, so moving right along, man, like we said earlier, we're getting a lot of calls. We're trying a brand new format. We're not going to wait to calls, take the calls at the end of the show. We're going to take the calls as they come because we feel that the show is about the callers. Wood and myself and Chuck, we talk to each other all the time about sports. So it's great when we can get the caller's opinion and, get their feedback because I think that's what actually makes the show more interesting. Moving right along to Major League Baseball. I know it's about to kick off real soon. Got the teams all done with spring training. So now it's getting ready to be the real deal when it comes to when actually the wins and losses count. So in saying that, I know a lot of teams made some big moves. Got some new additions trying to get up there at the top of their division. Who do you think is definitely one of those teams to be looking for that made the right moves to, be a true contender this year?
I hate to be a homer, but you did run with Cincinnati earlier tonight with the Bengals. So
yes, sir.
I feel I'm liberated to go with what I'm getting ready to go with. No, but real rap, I feel like, and I didn't even realize that Cespedes was really on the Tigers. That kind of snuck in there because I think I still was trying to get over Max leaving. But Cespedes, I guess, hit a bomb like 2 days ago. So I like that Cespedes was added a year after Kinsler being brought over. And then Simone was brought over from the Reds. I think he just had the best year in his career last year.
Yep.
So if he repeats and gives us some of what he did in a more spacious ballpark than Great American Ballpark up at Comerica, and if JD, up until like 2 days ago, JD was leading the league, or the spring leagues in homers, or was amongst the leaders. So, and we obviously have Victor Martinez. So I really think we've had problems with offense, and we thought Kinsler was gonna work some things out for us last year as the leadoff man, but he went cold. So we added another bat in Cespedes, who has power and can hit for decent average. Cespedes won the home run derby last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or was at least a participant. I think he won. So anyway, to close it out, man, it'll be interesting to see what Matt Kemp does in with the new spot in San Diego. But I'm going to go with the Tigers, man. I think that might really at least propel them into that World Series.
Yeah, it's good for Detroit to always definitely do well. I really like baseball, and baseball is probably the sport that it's a sport that I love to go to the park.
Love it.
It's nothing like, the smell of that lawn,
the way it looks.
It's just beautiful, man. And I think that if I had to pick a sport to actually go to and watch and enjoy the atmosphere, I know people would be like, whatever, Jay, but I think it would be baseball, because there's nothing like sitting down with somebody who you really care about, whether it be your significant other, whether it be your father, whether it be whoever it may be, or your brother, and just talk baseball there and eat some peanuts and get you a couple hot dogs,
Right.
have you a cold one. I think baseball is that type of sport. And now that the weather is breaking a little bit, it's getting a little bit warmer here in the Midwest, I think it's about time for baseball season, because there's nothing like a good 3-2 ball game. It's nothing like it, man. I don't care what anybody says. It's a game where you have to be mentally involved. You have to be in tune to it. And I think that it's definitely a game that's very more enjoyable when you're actually at the ballpark.
I'll tell you, I'll hit on that real quick. The Reds and the Tigers split 2 games at Comerica and 2 at Great American this upcoming season.
Thanks, man.
So I want to check, though. I'm trying to catch one at each. But up to your point, man, every time I go to Great American Ballpark, I sit and get lost in the fact that I'm in this beautiful outdoor space in the middle of this city, because when you look up over the sides of the stadium and you had the skyscrapers or the buildings there, and it's like this little patch of heaven right here in the middle of the still jungle.
Yep.
So I always love that clash of scenery.
Definitely, man. Baseball is definitely where it's at, man. Like I said, I think it's a sport where if you can get your family out there, I think they definitely have the best prices,
Right.
the family pack plans. I think it's definitely worth checking out. And a lot of people, locally, even the minor league baseball, I mean,
Right.
the Dragons, the atmosphere down there is just, it's astonishing, man.
Right.
How they sell out every game.
Right.
How everybody's there and, in tune to come into the ballpark. So it's definitely a good thing. But I think, looking at some of the top teams, I think definitely Detroit is one who made a good move. I'm curious to see what what's Hayward. Yeah, I'm curious to see what he does, over there in St. Louis, right?
Right.
And the thing about the St. Louis Cardinals, they just always seem to make the right move, or pick up the right player to help them, not help them get to the top, to help them remain at the top, because they're always near the top of the division and definitely making noise, when it comes to being a contender. I'm just trying to see if it can, get his career back on pace to what it used to be, and see what the Cardinals can do, this year with their team.
The pitching staff is going to be tight.
Definitely.
What I want to add on to that, and I thought about this earlier, Hayward has never really reached what he was projected to do. I remember when his first year in Atlanta, and Hank Aaron was ecstatic about him being on that team. He showed up for opening day and was at the ballpark and was really, excited to see what Hayward would do. We haven't seen that offensive output that we expect from an outfielder. So I'm wondering if that plate discipline and that, the coaching and the mental aspect that the Redbirds approach games with, I'm wondering if some of that will rub off on Jason. And like you said, maybe we see him start to do what he was projected to do. We've asked this before, but I just want to get it on record. And I don't even have to respond. You can get your comment in, we move on. Do you think, I know the Major League Baseball has been busy about trying to and committed to improving the numbers of African American players in the league. I don't want to get caught on any, specific matter to a specific group, but I'm just asking you, do you think that black players, being that you can wear the jewelry underneath your uniform, you can freely do that, and then that you can you can go up to the plate every at bat with your own walk-up song, do you think some brothers are missing out on take it, that this is a sport where you can get in and do what you want to do and have a good career?
You just hit. You're definitely right, man. It's time to get rid of the AAU basketball. It's time. That's what's killing baseball, and not just African American community, just in the urban community. Period. You know, whether you're Latino or African American or whatever it may be, we play too much AAU basketball.
That's
I mean,
a great point.
all spring, summer, we're at these basketball courts. You got guys playing AAU basketball, and which is great. And we always believe in kids need to stay busy and have something to do, have a responsibility, and what better way to get the discipline and that in sports. But in saying that, you know, you have your 5'9", 5'10" point guards on the basketball court. They're not going to play very rarely or get a college scholarship at that height. So that's your 5'8", 5'9". That's your outfielder. That's your guy who can run down the fly balls. And you have to, you know, play in your high school. You know, have to play that spring sport when it comes to baseball. And then also you have to play some travel ball and play some travel baseball. I just think AAU basketball is killing, you know, the baseball, because the reason why, you know, I say that because, you know, me and Wood, we would talk about it, and I know Wood would say, you know, he would go hit some balls or, you know, to some of his family members, and he would do things like that. But that's what we need to do. I think that if we can get that baseball, you know, back to being in the forefront, because back when we grew up, that's all we knew. You know, when it gets warm outside, we want to play baseball.
Exactly.
Whether we're on a team, whether we're in the neighborhoods or trying to find a park to play a little baseball, that's what we did. But now it's like AAU basketball is just, that's a whole nother.
It's filthy.
That's a whole nother subject, and maybe that's something for next week. But you're right, man. We definitely got to get, you know, the baseball experience more, you know, at the forefront in the urban community.
Like I said, just that individuality. To, you know, when I go to Great American Baseball,
I love it.
Great BP, and Brandon BP, that dude. When he walks up to there and you get to hear his first inning song is whatever, and then, you know, his next at bat, he might have a different song. I just think that's so, you know, everything I do, I work to music. I wash dishes to music. So if I'd have saw that as a kid, that would be an appealing factor for me as far, and the equipment used to be prohibitive, but now with baseball trying to make things happen, you can get that equipment taken care of. So I just, you know, I would like to see us get back in that game.
You're right, man. And one more nugget to throw everybody out there. I think something was released this week, actually. The average baseball salary has ballooned to $4.3 million.
And it's guaranteed.
There it is.
Just leave it at that.
There it is. So, okay, I think we're done with all our sports talk, right?
Yeah, man, we can move on to, you know, my sweet spot.
This is definitely Wood's deal right here, this entertainment. You know, he's the movie guy. He's definitely the music guy. And I'm going to definitely feed off of him on this one. You got James Bond. The Bond series. It's been a bunch of different individuals play James Bond. I guess there was a email or something got hacked, or, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Wood. I guess there was some chatter or, you know, maybe a rumor that Idris Elba will be the next James Bond, or will be in consideration. And I think that one of the original James Bond, I believe his name is Mr. Roger Moore, has some comments that maybe he said or maybe he didn't say that didn't sit too well.
Right.
Explain that story for us, please, sir.
It was actually a response that he made in a European magazine. And like you said, Idris coming in as Bond has been bantied about for the last at least 3 to 4 years as he's become more popular in his roles. I don't really want to dig in on what Roger Moore said. I think his words were misconstrued. I think he did say something that Idris wasn't English enough, but he really wasn't referencing, you know, the color of his skin. I think maybe he was looking for just that classic. It could be. I see how it could be misconstrued, but let's get off of the story and let's be real rap. Can a black man really, a black lead character in international espionage and all that, whatever you want to call that stuff, being an operative and whatnot, can a black character really go to Germany, Asia, Russia, the Eastern Bloc stuff, even down in some of the Middle Eastern stuff, some of the different locales that James Bond has to go to, for me that wouldn't work on the screen for me. That how are you gonna be in Lithuania or Czechoslovakia and nobody knows what you're there for?
Yeah, man. And think about it. Maybe I should make this comment. If Idris Elba was in, okay, let me see. I gotta say this seriously. Okay, if Idris Elba maybe was in Vin Diesel's body, maybe Vin Diesel could pull it off. But Vin Diesel definitely can't. He's not that good of an actor to do that kind. I'm just trying to give maybe somebody who's friendly enough, because you just said it, man. I mean, Idris Elba coming in there and with his makeup, and it's not about whether he's white, black, red, or blue. It just, you have to be believable in these movies.
It's gotta fit the story. And like I said, one black man is not gonna walk through a whole country of Czechoslovakians or Armenians and nobody turns around and says, "What is he doing here?" I mean, you just can't be you can't be undercover. And to follow this up, they've also considered changing up Spider-Man to a biracial character, I believe. But in this instance, there was actually a storyline in Spider-Man that there was actually a character. I think his name was Miles Morales or something. He was like black and Latino. So I don't have any argument there. I mean, it would be a brave thing to do. And I think the way that on that side of things with Spider-Man, I think the franchise has been mishandled so badly the last couple of ever since the first one, in my opinion, with Tobey Maguire. Yeah, I think going back to his maybe first, second one, I think the third one got messed up. But the two newer ones, since they rebooted it, I think they need to get out of that and redo it. So that could work. But like I said, Idris being an international dude, I don't see that working.
And the thing about Idris, he doesn't have to play a James Bond film, but he can do something similar, but it has to be carefully, constructed, and it has to be actually thought out, because you're just not going to get into those places, being an African American and not being, thought
detected.
of as like, there we go. Thank you, Wood. Detected. Anything else with that one?
No, man, I just, and I'll be honest with you, the last couple Bond movies, they've been big explosions and all that, but I really just haven't been the biggest fan of that franchise. I'm not going to hate on Mr. Moore because he kind of spoke out on an iconic role that he helped get to that status. And, he's just weighing in, wanting to make sure that the franchise stays intact.
Definitely. And Mr. Moore is around about, what, 80, 90 years old?
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean, when you're that age, I'll be honest, who cares what they say at that age? I mean, they didn't live their life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like our great grandfather saying something. He may say some things that gets misconstrued, as you mentioned. It just happens. It is what it is. But moving right along, talking about movies, I am so excited. The thing about it is, I sent my buddy a text the other day about I was at the movies. I was actually seeing Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. We can talk about that later. But I said, man, this preview of the Fast and the Furious 7, or Furious 7, I'm sorry, it's unbelievable, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is just so much going. And the thing about, I don't even like those movies.
That's what's killing me here.
But the thing about it, it's like, and Wood, I don't know why you don't like the Furious 7, because we support rappers. When these rappers are in the movies, we give them love. And we got Ludacris in there.
Right.
We got Black Ty, or
right.
Tyrese. He's a rapper or singer, whatever. It's a good look, man. And they saying that this is going to be the best one ever. I've been reading all the reviews on, what's that, IMDb or whatever.
IMDb.
They're like a 9 out of 10 right now. It's going to be a great one, man. I'm telling you. You got to check it out, man.
Okay. Right.
Okay, right.
Yeah, you know what? Being that the weather is picking up, I would catch this on the double at the drive-in. I would do that as long as it's paired correctly. Hey man, I'm not gonna hate on this thing because it is kind of carrying, bringing it in or kicking off the start of Paul Walker's legacy. And I've heard Tyrese and Ludacris on some shows, really saying some heartfelt things about bringing this movie to an end. It's obviously gonna do well, man. I hope you enjoy it, and I want to see what the numbers look like. I'm gonna look at it from the business side of it. I want to see what the numbers are, and I do like that it marks the kickoff, and this swings it into you. This kicks off movie season.
Yes, it does. It definitely does, man. And it's a lot of good movies coming out, man. Like we said, Furious 7. It's another movie that I was just looking at. Oh my goodness. What
Action or
it was a
drama?
No, it was
thriller, suspense.
Oh, who was in that movie? I goodness gracious. But at any rate,
it'll come
back to me. I'll kick it back to you. But yeah, like I said, I went to go see Get Hard, and what
did you like it?
It was just too much crude humor, man. It was just a little bit
vulgar.
Oh, it was very vulgar, man.
Okay.
It was very vulgar. There was some things in there where it kind of turn your stomach. It was a lot of things in there that were just kind of out of the way. But the thing that shocked me about that movie though was Will Ferrell kind of outshined Kevin Hart. He actually was a little bit more timely, maybe because Kevin Hart was playing kind of the straight and narrow kind of guy. I don't know.
Okay.
But Will Ferrell, man, he's a professional, man. I think he's good at what he does.
Got you. I may check that one out. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Again,
it was okay.
Okay, so, yeah, man. I'm okay. So you've already seen one, with Get Hard. I hope to check that out. Furious 7 comes out this weekend. I know you're trying to find a movie right now that you want, so I'm gonna just run into my top 3, and you come in after me. Obviously, the tent pole of the movie season is Age of Ultron, the Avengers. So I want to check that out May 1st, for obvious reasons. Hope to not be disappointed, but I think that's going to be a pretty big one that I really want to see, man. Is the trailer that just came out this week was Southpaw, which is a boxing flick every other year. So Hollywood tries to give us a good boxing flick. Jake Gyllenhaal is starring in that as the fighter. 50 Cent's involved, Forrest Whitaker, Rachel McAdams. The only thing that was interesting about this trailer was that they actually showed one of the principal actors or characters. They showed the death of that person, and I thought you give away a little too much on the movie. I mean, if it's a central person to the movie, but it sets it up of why Jake is fighting, because he comes back to boxing to try to get his daughter, I believe. But he got in great shape for the movie. I think 50 is kind of playing a seedy dude as usual, and Forrest is in there, so that one should be great. And then honestly, for me, man, one that really might outdo Avengers for me personally, just because of the history of this being a movie when I was a child and the visuals that I have seen in the new trailer. I'm really anxious to see Mad Max Road to Fury, man. That comes out 2 weeks after Avengers, on May 15th, and that has Tom movie, man. So with today's technology, with it, like anybody out there, I would go Google the trailer for Road to Fury or Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road. The trailer is unbelievable. So I'm very excited to see what they do with that. Like I said, they're rebooting that one after over a decade of inactivity with that franchise. So that's kind of my big 3, man. But I'm sure I left one out. I want to see that Masterminds as a comedy. That is a comedy that I think I could check out with Kristen Wiig and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, man, definitely. I wouldn't mind seeing the Avengers also because is that Scarlett Johansson?
Yes, sir.
That's something about Scarlett Johansson, man. I really like her, man. I really like her acting. I mean, I think she got
a husky voice.
Yeah, man. I like Scarlett because she said that, you know, she doesn't have to be a size 1 or size 2. She's happy who she is, and she's talented. So I really like Scarlett Johansson. So I think that will be another movie that I may check out. It's another one that I like. I'm trying to find it, and I know you're like, why do you like that? But it's my other. I like Reese Witherspoon. Is that the one who was married to Ryan Felipe?
Right.
I like Reese Witherspoon. I think she's in the movie with what's the girl from The Modern Family?
The Modern Family, the
Latino,
Vergara,
Sophia
Vergara,
yeah. I think they have a comedy coming out.
Okay.
Maybe it's like Pursuit, maybe like Hot Pursuit or something.
Okay.
I just like silly movies, comedies, man. Something that can keep that's an hour and 25 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
We differ more on our film game than our sports game.
On sports, we like on the same road.
Right.
But on movies, I want to be in there an hour, 20 minutes, and I'm done.
I'm trying to be there 3 hours with Interstellar that I can't even explain to somebody.
So what was that about again, Wood? But anyway. But yeah, I like the quick movies. But yeah, that one, and I like another one. You named it, the one also. Charlize Theron is in that Mad Max, right? I believe she's in that movie too. So I like those movies, man. And it's just nice that we're getting to the movie season, because a lot of the film companies are definitely dropping their big movies, you know, during this time of year. It's definitely that time to get to that movies and actually, you know, see some of the people that we support and things of that nature. I know that, you know, I would like to actually see some you know, more movies geared towards the urban communities. I don't know. I didn't see anything coming out like, you know, more urban.
What was the one with my man short dude in Nia Long, Love Jones type?
Yeah, you know, we've been calling for Love Jones, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was watching Poetic Justice, man. I really like Poetic Justice a lot. I think that was a very good movie. I think that we just need some of those good type of movies. When is the NWA? I mean, I know NWA.
Oh yeah, that is coming out this summer.
It is coming out this summer. So maybe we'll see the NWA movie come out pretty soon, and see some of the people that, you know, we kind of grew up with on the screen also.
Okay. And look, I just want to get ready to wrap this up. This is my favorite subject, but I know we try to keep the shows a little shorter. But we did have a lot of calls tonight, and that kind of, like you said, it filled out the show. My wife mentioned that we don't talk enough R&B, and so I really wanted to throw out there, man, a couple of singles I think we should check for. Tamia has a song called Soda and a Sandwich. I don't know if you've heard that one, but maybe you could tell the missus about it. Soda and a Sandwich is a bit of a slower song. I'm just shocked at this because Def Jam it's on Def Jam. So when I saw them behind it, you know, I don't know where she's gonna get it played, but Tamia is out there. I don't know how you feel about Tamia. I think she gives us, and Grant is, you know, doing the March Madness right now, but it's a good thing for that household. But it's a substantive song, and she comes out. I think she puts in some good something that's well written. And she tells a story. Like, she has one or two songs on every album that kind of tell a nice story. So I think that's a good change of pace. And then secondly, Tyrese, speaking of Furious 7, he's promoting his new single with Snoop Dogg called Dumb-ish. And it's something about him getting caught cheating. And I guess it's a true story from his live-in girlfriend. And it actually incorporates the Bonita Applebum beat, so you're familiar with that.
Oh, that's hot.
These are, and it's done well, man. So I would suggest check those out. Let me know something at the Fifth Quarter on Twitter. We try to get the Facebook page up this week. We'll get an email address out there for everybody soon too. I think we want to make sure we give you the right one, but holler at us about either of those two. As we kind of close down this entertainment segment, I want to circle back to something before we move on. You know, you make your closing comments, man. 2 weeks ago, we talked about Damon Dash from the Breakfast Club, right? Man, I've been checking out different podcasts from that. DJ Envy has asked Tyrese, and he had Dr. Boyce Watkins on there, and the conversation somehow swung back around to Envy with, let me get your opinion on having a job and working for somebody. And Charlamagne got on him because he's like, man, when you gonna get over that? Referring to Damon Dash.
Right.
And I guess Tyrese was like, he was a fan of the show, so he heard it. He said, yeah, man, I know exactly why you asked me this. And they just went back and forth about it. The Dr. Boyce Watkins, he's actually a financial expert, so he kind of brought the academic, Syracuse University, former Syracuse University professor. He actually spoke about it. Tyrese kind of commended them for not for handling a difficult situation with Dame. Anyway, I would just say if you have iHeartRadio, like I said, we're not trying to take over anybody's role. We don't have the resources of the Breakfast Club, but if you want to follow up on the Damon Dash discussion, those were two very interesting podcasts from the Breakfast Club to check out. Was the one with Tyrese and Dr. Boyce Watkins. Lastly, man, Wale's in store this week. I thought somebody was gonna call in and talk about
he
that.
wants respect too.
Yeah, he was on there having a moment about his credit. So
yeah, he sure was.
Right. So that was it, man. I mean, it's other things, but like I said, we're getting into that 2-hour area. So what you got for us?
Oh man, nothing much, man. Just seen that Jasmine Sullivan is coming to Bogart, Cincinnati.
Got my tickets already, bro.
There you go. So there it is. In 2 weeks, Red Grant is gonna be at the Funny Bone. I don't know if you're a Red Grant fan.
Getting some tickets, bro. That's my man.
There it is. So you know what I'm saying, so I'm just, Wood and myself, we go back and forth and let people know, some of the people that are in our area, what's going on.
Red Grant is that's a pretty big move for the Funny Bone. Thanks for putting me on to that. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, the thing about it was when we were at the Funny Bone maybe a couple weeks ago, because we get a lot of free tickets. I put in it was probably about 2 months ago. Red Grant is somebody I would like to see. So when I heard that he was going to be there, they sent me a text. It was huge. And the next person I want to see come there is Lou Nail. I like Lou Nail too, man.
I follow both of them on Instagram, man, and I told you I like people that progressively get better at what they do,
yes,
and
sir.
I think Red Grant is just naturally a guy to watch for, whether it be TV or movie. I think he could be that guy.
Yeah, man, and like I said, we about to wrap up the show, man. But we had a real good show, man, and we want to say thank you for all the participation with the fifth quarter bracket. I think it's definitely has sparked some interest in our show, and definitely given the fans an opportunity to, well, not fans, some of the listeners,
the team.
There we go.
The
team, the opportunity to actually, listen to what we're about and to grow with us. It's been a lot of things that we talked about today. Hopefully we, was able to, feel some of your cravings for some sports entertainment talk. We didn't take up too much of your time, but the callers were good, and it kind of, had us go over a little bit. But like we said, it's all about the callers. We would definitely rather hear from them than hear ourselves talk to each other. So we thank you for that, and we appreciate the continued support.
Right. I just want to throw out, I did forget one thing. That Bieber roast on Comedy Central was hilarious. You mentioned it. Did you see the Bieber roast, Chuck?
It was good.
Bieber roast. Check it on hosted by Kevin Hart, Ludacris, Snoop. It was Shaq was on there. Martha Stewart, dude from Undateable, the sitcom I mentioned a few weeks ago. Hannibal Buress. But man, it was this female named Natasha Leggero. If she comes to the Funny Bone, I gotta check her out. She threw some daggers. And then Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live was also on there. This cat actually made some jokes about Paul Walker's death in his roast. They got edited out according to Ludacris. But I would strongly suggest it's probably one of the best roasts that I've watched. The other Ross was on there too. He's on every roast. But and what's her name? Martha Stewart might have had this. She might have had the crack of the night on Hannibal Buress. I'll tease it. Go and check it out. But she may have shut down the internet with her joke about her crack on Hannibal Buress.
There it is.
Lastly, man, I'm gonna take a quick moment before you close us out. My alma mater, man, my former high school took the Division I Ohio High School Sports Athletic Association title. Took the basketball title. And in our state, D1 is the big school.
We need some sound effects.
Right. So if we had a round of applause right now, we put that in at this moment. But yeah, man, speaking of Michigan State, Travis Trice won the MOP for most outstanding player in that region. He's the son of Wayne High School, put him on the map. They actually, made it to the Final Four, won the semi, and then comfortably beat Westerville South. I know some college players that we would know that came out of Westerville South. But, just shout out to local school. It's not a private school, not an all-boys school. Just put the city of Dayton, on the map. It's a nationally ranked team.
It's huge, man. And the thing about it is, Coach Trice, I just want to actually say a couple good things about him, because not only are they winning, and I think with coaching, you need to win, and because you have to win to actually keep your job. But the thing that's the most important in my eye with Coach Trice and Wayne, particularly in the school, is they getting those kids to college.
Yes, sir.
And that's what it's about, man. And I know a lot of people,
2 UD recruits.
There we go, 2 UD recruits. Big up to them Flyers. Woods coming on in. The thing about, not only winning the games and being successful on the court, field, or whatever, the baseball diamond, when you get your kids to go to school, give them the opportunity to better educate themselves and, enhance their, future when it comes to adulthood, I think that's what it's all about. So I just want to say kudos to Coach Trice and the whole Wayne staff, and the football team actually went to the state championship too, right?
And faced the team that they beat. They beat the team. Let me mess that all up. The team that they lost to in the state championship of football, they beat their basketball team in the semifinal, which was Lakewood St. Edwards.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
So that's good, man. And I know a lot of people say, we talk about a lot of national things, and we talk about a lot of, these, professional players, but we're going to always, give our support and our kudos to some of this local talent, because I think they deserve that, and I think they need a bigger platform so they can they can hear about their accomplishments also. So I think that was huge. Good looking out for Coach Trice and them, and hopefully Michigan State can continue their Cinderella or un-Cinderella run that they're doing in the March Madness tournament.
Hey, great show, man. I'm so happy right now to get all the different perspectives that called in tonight, and that kind of matches up with what I envisioned us doing, 3 months ago. So, a couple key people with some key points that I wanted to hit on. They didn't make it in tonight, but that's fine. We put the episode up and go from there, and we'll be back at it next week.
There it is. Have a good one. Peace.
Fifth Quarter Show.